Thank you.
You can come save me anytime,
Okay.
all right, when I'm swimming at the
I'm a
pool.
good T-Rex swimmer.
Thank you, sweetie. An incredible story. Sometimes the timing of those things are just incredible, man. But I want to continue from the thought from last week when we talked about faith. And we're going to continue to talk about this topic because I want to rip it apart. I want to, over the next few weeks and as we move into the summer, I want to talk about some of the myths, the lies, some of the truths, some of the power behind faith, and why sometimes faith works. It seems like faith works for this person, but it might not work for that person, and why some grew up in an environment where faith was about speaking the right thing and saying the right thing and praying the right thing, and if you don't, then you don't get from God. And I just want to kind of just talk through that. We're not going to get through it all today, so we're on a journey. We're on a faith journey from last week and as we move forward, because I think it's important for everybody to understand this, that you and the person sitting next to you are on different journeys in your faith. You're at different places in your faith. Albeit we're encouraging each other to continue to move forward, that we're at different parts of our faith. You know, here's the interesting story. When the children of Israel came out of Egypt, they all came out. Ayo. How many with me? They all came out of Egypt. Talking millions of people came out of Egypt. Now, can we just kind of paint this picture just a little bit? Might there be just a little bit of a different experience with the people in the front of the line than the back of the line? It doesn't mean they weren't freed. It doesn't mean they didn't come out of bondage. It means that the people in the front of the line might experience something a little different first or before the people that were in the back of the line. They all didn't experience the same thing at the same time. In fact, when they crossed through the river and God parted the sea and they crossed through the sea, some of the people were in the middle of the sea while some people were still waiting to get into the parted water. So you could see the journeys of faith that were going on. Could you imagine being in the front of the line and being on the other side of the sea after walking through the parted water and seeing the fishies up there in the water and seeing all the stuff, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. And as they're taking these steps and getting to the other side of the sea, they're all encouraged, they're all built up, they're all excited, they're all grateful, they're all thankful, while there's people still in the back of the line that hasn't even entered into the sea realm yet. It didn't mean they weren't free. It just means they were a different part of their journey in following Jesus. But over the years, it's been really sad when the church community, and I'm thankful we don't have that here, but I grew up in a lot of different environments, and I've been to a lot of different environments, that if you don't act like, or if you don't mimic the faith of a pastor or this person or that person or this person, that person, you're not spiritual like them. Can I tell you, if you get back up off the canvas and follow God with your next step, you are just as spiritual as the person next to you. Every one of those people that had to cross over the sea, cross through the sea that was parted, we're all working through their salvation. We're all working through their freedom. I can't imagine the people that were first looking back at the people who hasn't even gotten into the sea part yet, yelling at them saying, you bunch of losers. Oh, you ought to be like me, man. What's up with that? But yet sometimes in the church community, we have that feeling. And I just want to help you understand. I want to bring some peace, hopefully, to your life. That God is very much involved with your journey. Even if you're being stubborn. Ayo. I just woke up all the stubborn people. All 80% of ya. Even if you're being stubborn. I'll say it this way. Even if you're being rebellious. Even if you got an attitude with God, He's still in your story. Why? Because he gets those moments in your life where it kind of, causes you to think about Him, and you don't want to think about Him. You might be mad at Him. But he gets those moments or those people or those songs or those stories or a wall or something that gets your attention to think about him or reminds you of what he asked you to do. And it's like, that is what tells me that he's involved with our story. Now you think about Elijah in the Old Testament, right? When he ran for his life because of fear and he ended up in a cave. Probably wasn't the best place for him to be, but he was in a cave and God showed up. Why? Because God, when he wants your story to be moved, when he wants your story to be completed, when he wants his will to be done, he knows where to find you. How many of you love the fact that you were found, but didn't like some of the process in being found? How many of you ever thought, I wish God would just leave me alone. I just want to do what I want to do. Nobody? Is Anita Newby the only one, ladies and gentlemen? Come on. Is she the only honest one in the house? You're like, I just want to build my business. God, just leave me alone. And God says, I want to build your business with you, but I want to bless it in such a way that'll just blow your mind. I want to help you build your business that you don't have to lose your family. I want to help you build your business that you don't have to lose your health, that you can enjoy this journey. So this faith thing is a real interesting topic that really caused us to slow down and take a look at it and say, my faith journey will not be complete until I see Jesus face to face. Until then, I'm going to stay on a journey. Until then, I'm going to continue to get back up off the canvas. Until then, I'm going to continue to take one step in front of the other. And until then, I'm going to be encouraged by those who are maybe a little more ahead of me, and I'm going to encourage those who might be not in the sea yet. But the first thing I want to leave with you is this. Faith requires movement. Today's message is actually called Faith's Requirements. I was thinking, do I use that word? Do I not use that word? Does it sound like law? Does it sound like this? And the truth is, no, it's not law. It's just faith actually requires some things. It requires you and me to engage in the process with God, right? Faith actually requires movement. And so in James chapter 2, verse 14, it says, what good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, hey, just go in peace, keep warm, be well fed, but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. But someone will say, you have faith, I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith with my deeds. You believe that there is one God. Even the demons believe that and shudder. So I guess I leave with you today. Don't be a deedless faither. These are great English words that all of us need to use on a daily. Don't be a deedless faither. See, faith requires movement. It doesn't require you to go crazy. And, you know, we had this discussion this week about faith. We had this discussion about the understanding of faith and how some communities, church communities, religious communities, will say, if you really have faith, you'll go sell all your stuff and you'll just, get rid of it because that's what Jesus said to do. And the truth of it is, I don't think that's what Jesus was saying. Jesus wasn't saying go sell all your stuff and, give it away and live on the streets. But there's moments, now how many know what I'm talking about? There's moments where you will be prompted by the Spirit to be generous, to give, to move, to bless, to help, to do those things. And guess what? Nobody will know it. It'll never be in the church bulletin. It'll never be noticed by somebody other than him. But faith will require movement. And what's funny is we live in a day right now where movement is resisted. It's awfully quiet in here. Now, I'm not talking about movement of going to work or movement of this or movement of that, but there is a resistance right now, and I'm not talking about even a rebelliousness or an attitude, but it's this almost as a, I would say it like this, as a community to get up and advance and push the ball further down the road. To get up and to move. Now again, I'm not speaking, it's not everybody, but does anybody know what I'm talking about? It's like this thing coming out of almost a year and a half of a pandemic is getting back up off the canvas, so to speak, or getting back in the game and getting a bat or getting a ball and moving it down the forward. Now some of you are like, well, he's talking to me because I'm not. No. If you think I'm talking to you, then I am, but I'm not. It's like, it's just not what I'm planning. But there seems to be this feeling in the air, not just at church, but around the community of people. And there's nothing wrong. We like doing stuff here, we like doing stuff there. But it's almost like God is saying, will we engage and advance together? Will we engage and move forward together? Will we move the ball further down the road? Or are we waiting until we feel it in order to do it? Faith requires, I can guarantee this, that when Elijah was in the cave, he probably did not feel like running back to where he was supposed to be, but yet God gave him supernatural strength to do so. We're in a season right now where we almost have exhausted all of our natural strength and we're ready to engage some of the supernatural strength again. Are you with me, church? They're like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? It means that we just engage where God is asking us to engage and move the ball forward, to push it. Faith requires movement. Even the simple things, man. When the 4,000 people needed to eat in the Bible, 5,000 people needed to eat in the Bible. Did you ever notice that Jesus didn't feed them? I'll say it again. Jesus did not feed them. Jesus took the loaves and the fish and he thanked them, and then he gave it to the guys and he goes, go feed them. When Lazarus came out of the grave and, he had the death clothes on, we'll say. He had the wrappings around the hands. He had the wrappings around the ankles. He had the death clothes on. And you know what's amazing? Jesus did not go take the death clothes off. He told the guys, he told the church, he told the kingdom people to go in. Come on, let's take the death clothes off. Let's get back to work. You thought he was dead. You thought that season was going to destroy us. You thought that season was going to take the church out. He said, no. It's just a halftime. Now it's time to re-engage. Now it's time to get back, help take death clothes off of people again, help bring life to people again, help change lives again, help advance the kingdom again, because we ain't done. But faith requires movement. I hope you don't hear this as a heavy, manipulative kind of thing, because that's not my heart, and it's never my heart. This is one of those things of just saying, is there a next step for you to take? Is there a next step for you to do? A life to change, something that God is asking you to do. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to miss out on what God is doing. Are you with me today? Anybody with me today? Just a couple of people with me today? What's up with that? Vic. You always count on Vic. Up there in the stands yesterday watching us play ball, and that heat, it was a great time. Beautiful. Love Vic. But faith requires movement. I'll ask you a question. You don't have to show of hands or anything, but how many of you have had God bug you about something for a long time before you responded? Yeah. I wonder how many people have God bugging them right now. I don't want to see. I don't want to see. Faith requires movement. I wonder how many people in the church community right now are praying for something that God has already spoken for you to do. We're praying about something that God already spoke, that God already given you and I the ability to do. Oh, God, I pray you would just, touch that man, that you would, change his heart, that you would do this and do that. And God already spoke to you to go and, bless them or love them or show grace or whatever be the case. Faith requires movement. We even read it in Luke chapter 8. We read it in Luke chapter 8. There's an interesting story, and we probably heard this story so many times. But I'm really amazed when you really begin to get in this story how powerful this one really is. This woman was sick. Luke 8:42, it says, as Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. I want you to get that picture. I've never been that famous where crowds crushed me, not even when I was the white rapper. In fact, more times than not, it was a no-show. It's like one of those things, But Jesus shows up, and the crowds crushed him. One might have thought, man, that's powerful scene. People just crushing him. They wanted to be so close to him. And yet something didn't happen with all those people. Something didn't happen that did happen with one little old sick lady. Faith requires movement. You see, you know when you're desperate enough, when you're sick enough, when you're hungry enough, when your desire is so big, when something inside of you won't quit, when something inside of you wants God in such a way, when something inside of you says yes, even though your mind might be saying no, but your heart is saying yes, to lean into Jesus, to go after him, you know it's something of faith. When other people are in your way and you don't feel like you have the strength, and you're like, get out of my way, because I'm going after Jesus. You say, but I don't see crowds of people. We don't see crowds of people in our day, but we see the noise of people. We see the noise of things. We see the noise of life. Some noise is good, some noise, not so good. How many know we got a lot of noise in our lives? How many know we might want to plug that radio a little bit? Just unplug it just a little bit. Change the channel. Some of us have listened to the same bad noise for 25 years, and it might be time to change the station. All right, let's move on. But we got this thing where Jesus on his way, and the crowds almost crushed him. 43 says, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched him, the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. 45 is the turning point, which is really, really a powerful part of this story. He says, who touched me? Jesus asked when they all denied it. I love that part. When they all denied it, I didn't do it. Not me. I mean, the crowds of people are around Jesus swarming him. They're crushing on him. They're like, it's like, Jesus, all these people. Who touched me? Not me. I'm out. You don't know if Jesus said it with an attitude. You don't know if they were scared. Why didn't anybody else say, it was me? It was me. He actually pushed me into you, but it was Doug's fault. But I touched you. Why would they all deny it? Could it be that their hearts weren't transitioned yet to the new covenant Father we have, and they still had the mindset and heart of a wrath-filled, judgmental God in the Old Testament? Could it be? Who touched me? When they all denied it, Peter said, Master, the people are crowding you and pressing against you. But Jesus said, someone touched me, and I know that power has gone out from me. Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. In the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him and how she had instantly been healed. Then he said to her, daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace. Go in peace. Even a sick woman at the end of her rope with her health knew enough to lean into Jesus, because faith requires movement. Faith requires movement. Can I tell you, if you're going to get out of that anger and that hatred and that bitterness from what somebody did to you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it's going to require movement. It's not going to require God to go change that person. It's going to require movement in order for God to change you. Change you. Well, you don't know. No, I don't. But he does. But I know every time I've come into a story, every time I've had an issue, it has required movement on my part. It's required movement of me moving from bitterness into forgiveness, from hatred into love. I'm talking about movement. This lady would have never been healed if she didn't get moving. And I'm going to tell you something else, too, that many of us know as faith people, is that when it's time to move, you're not going to feel like it. When it's time to move, you're going to say things like, I've already tried that and nothing happened. You know, I've been doing that for 20 years, Pastor. You're just not going to feel like it. You're going to feel like, why even bother? It hasn't helped. You're not going to feel like you have the energy. But God is still going to have it in you to create some movement and move forward. This is why we say around here, your best is yet to come. Because if you continue to move forward, you'll run into the next best. And some people don't see the next best because they stay put. Imagine what would have happened if Elijah stayed in the cave and say, no, this is as far as I can go. I screwed up so much. I got issues. I got fear, all that stuff. I ain't going any further. But he got back up out of the cave and he kept going. Faith requires movement. Movement. Can I just encourage you today to move out of that guilt? Move out of that shame. Move out of just living over and over the story of your past. And start moving forward to create a new story for your present. Move. Yeah, but the voices are telling me I don't deserve it. I don't, blah, 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 blah. The noise. Noise. All the noise. How many would just love to hear just a little less noise? Anybody? Just a little less noise? Like, very few people will get that. Little less noise. Little less. You know what helps? To have less noise? To have less people. Did I say that? Yes, I did. I'll say it this way. Less noise, how about have the right people? Don't go out and recluse and be by yourself. Pastor said I can be alone. You'll be alone and bitter and angry and ugly. You know, it's like, come on now. How about have the right people? I like having, Tracy said, we like having the right people, don't we? Ayo, I like having you, baby. What's up? Faith requires movement. I want to close with this permission to give you to break the laws. To break the laws. This story about this lady, and I got so much to talk about. We're going to be in this thing for a while. This part right here with this lady who pushed past everybody and touched Jesus. She had no business doing this. In fact, because of her sickness, she was looked at as less than. She was looked at as, you stay away, don't touch her. She's unclean. According to the law, she's unclean. She had to be set aside. If you read the law in the Old Testament, she would have to be said, don't be around this woman. She's got problems. And she went against everything that she was ever taught. Everything that she was ever, all the faces that she got, all the looks, all the fingers that were pointed at her. She went against all of that. I don't have a religious background. I never went to church. I don't know Jesus. I did drugs. I was an alcoholic. I did this. I did that. And all these things were floating around many of people's minds even today. But for her, man, she was going against the grain. She was breaking the law, the old covenant law. She was breaking it. She was going, and the fact that she would go and be in the midst of a group of people, come on, work with me just for a moment. Follow this train just for a moment. She had to push through everything that she was feeling and thinking in that moment. This is all I got. He's all I need. He's all I want. And if this doesn't work, I don't know what's going to happen. But I hear this man is healing people. I hear this man is who he says he is. And if he can bring me peace, I just want to touch him one time. If he can bring me hope, I just want to touch him one time. If he can bring me this healing to my heart, I just want to touch him one time. If he can bring me to a place of really solidifying my sonship or my daughtership, I just want to touch him one time. Going against everything you might feel. Unlovable, unworthy, don't measure up, got a past full of mistakes. All the things that people deal with even today, she was having to push through this. When you read this story, most of people, and I thought this way too, and still years ago I started really digging through this thing. This word touched doesn't mean this. It doesn't mean to reach out and just touch. Doug, will you come up here for a minute? Because I'm going to touch you. Come here. I'll give you a picture of what this word in the... You're supposed to be Jesus. You just ruined the story. Go sit down. You're the only rebellious Jesus I've ever met. You got Jesus. Jesus, you're quite colorful today, I see. It's a beautiful shirt you got on. Don't you love this shirt, man? This brother's styling.
That's my Zach Morris shirt.
Zach Morris. I like it. This word touched doesn't mean this. And I guarantee she wasn't, man, this woman probably crawling, probably pushing through, probably getting people out of the way enough. And the word touched in the Greek actually means to grab onto, sorry, I'm wrinkling your shirt, and adhere. I think this would be the difference maker when it came to power leaving Jesus. Because all these people were doing this, they were bumping into him, going all kinds of crazy. They were crowding around him. But there was something that took place when she reached out and she grabbed, obviously, the hem of his garment. It wasn't up here, it would have been down here. She reached out and she grabbed a hold. Nice socks, by the way. And she did this. There's a difference in our expression of faith when it comes to I hope versus I know. I hope he hears me versus I know, because he's all I got. He's all I got left. I screwed up so much, I need him today. And that word touch means to grab onto, to adhere, to hold on, and don't let go. I want to be the kind of people, thank you, my brother. I want to be the kind of person that Jesus stops and says, hold up, who touched me? I want to be the kind of person that says, this brother won't quit. He's like the ever-ready bunny. He just keeps going. What's up? He's just going. He doesn't need a new battery. He just keeps going. He gets knocked down on the canvas. He keeps going. He doesn't get the answer he likes, but he keeps going. He just keeps trusting me. The kid's got issues. I want God to be like that. Are you with me today, church? I want to be the kind of people that says, come hell, come high water, come all kinds of stuff, we're going to continue to trust him. We're going to continue to go after him. We're going to continue to press through and touch the hem of his garment. Not just going to be like, I hope. We're going to be like, I know. I know. I know. And that same power that was available to this lady is available to us today. There's three things. First thing he did was he confirmed her. He confirmed who she was. You see, you can really only confirm somebody when you have been confirmed yourself. Jesus was confirmed when he was baptized, and the dove came down, and the voice from heaven said, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. Jesus didn't even do anything at that point. All he was baptized. And he was confirmed from the Father, and he was able to turn to this woman in verse 48, and he was able to say, daughter, 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 daughter. That could have been offensive to somebody. Because Jesus was making a shift here. When he was on the earth, he was making a shift. He was saying, when you see me, you see the Father. And we are shifting from a judicial, a legalistic, a rule-based relationship, and we're moving into a family business. Jesus said, daughter, he confirmed her. I believe he's saying the same thing today to you and I. Son, daughter, I don't care if you believe it or not, or even understand it. He's still saying it. Second thing he did was he released compassion. He confirmed, then he released compassion. I love the fact that judgment was not released over her. What took you so long? What's your problem? Why you been sick? Get up. Rub some dirt. You know, all that kind of stuff is like, geez. You know, what did you probably did something to deserve this. There was no judgment. Daughter, your faith has healed you. And then he brought completion. So he confirmed her. He brought compassion. And then he completed it by saying, your faith has healed you. Go in peace. I think there's something to this that could help us in our faith journey. To realize that maybe God isn't seeing it the way you and I see it. You and I, a lot of times, look at it as far as what we have done and what we haven't done. God looks at it as who you are, and out of that, doing. Not doing to become, but learning to become, and then doing. In other words, you'll be able to love people a lot better when you yourself, as a son or daughter, receive his love for you. You can't give what you don't have. You'll be able to confirm other people when you first receive you being confirmed by your Heavenly Father. See, we live in a good day, man, where faith requires movement, but it's not demanded. It's not demanded to you for you to be a good person or to be some kind of the accolades with heaven. It's one of those things that we do because of our place in him. Daughter, son, daughter, son. Can we stand on our feet this morning, church? Hey, with everybody head bowed just for a second. Thank you, Jesus. I just can't help but think that some in the house or some watching online, your faith journey has been halted a little bit. Maybe it's been detoured. Maybe you're here today and Holy Spirit is kind of prompting you to say, hey, will you re-engage back in your faith journey? Will you re-engage back with me? Again, it requires movement. Probably don't feel like it, probably don't even want to. I don't know, maybe you do. But maybe you're feeling that prompting once again, that thing on the inside. And just by a show of hands, I just want to know who I'm praying for. If that's you today, you say, Pastor, I'm re-engaging in my faith journey with him. I love the honesty in this place. Just go ahead and keep your hand up. No one else is looking around. I'm re-engaging with my faith. What's great is we're not waiting to get to a place to re-engage. We're re-engaging our faith journey right now where we are, in the midst of all the mess, in the midst of all the confusion, in the midst of all the thoughts. You're doing what that lady did, man, pressing through all the stuff, all the noise. Father, you see every hand. I'm thanking you for what you are doing in the hearts of your people. Father, I thank you that you love us so much that when you're looking at us, even as we're pressing into you, that you're not judging us. You're not looking down at us. You're not frustrated with us. But God, you are actually looking at us, encouraging us to take the next step. So, Father, today we engage in this faith journey. We're engaging. Whatever it is you ask us to do, God, we just want to do that. We want to take the next step. If you need to forgive somebody, that might be the next step. If you need to forgive yourself, that might be the next step. Father, all we can say is that we trust you. We trust you right now where we are individually. We trust you right now where we are corporately. We thank you that you are a faithful God. Come on, if you believe that he's faithful today, just whisper that. Father, thank you that you're faithful. Let's create an environment of gratitude in the house and just thanking him. Father, we thank you. We bless you. We honor you today. You're a great God. You're a mighty God. As much as we know how to today, we say we love you. And all God's people said, church, we love the snot out of you. Can't wait to see you again. Make sure you greet somebody on the way out. Visit our call to action board. And we will see you guys next time. Have a blessed, blessed week.